everybody, for the first part of this teaching update. I'm actually here at Vanguard University. Today is the first day back of the semester here at Vanguard. I just had my this Zoom orientation meeting, and then I came here for my first class, and then my next class starts in less than a half hour. So I'm very excited to be back. The last semester here at Vanguard University before teaching credentials already packed, but I will persevere. And just to depend, I'm taking 4 courses this semester, and that includes the field work over at Ensign Intermediate School where I'm placed at. Also, one of the courses I'm taking is going to help me develop on how to teach a unit, so I'm very excited about that as well. Now into my next class, curriculum planning. So today in class, real quick, it was the second AVID period, period 7, and all of a sudden a bird starts flying in and starts flying around the classroom. And so I kind of go and open the back door, and the teacher turns off the lights, and some people open the back window, and we just watch it fly around and just perch somewhere and then fly around some more. But one student opened the window, and actually there were multiple students, and eventually got the little bird out. So that was kind of very exciting. It kind of reminded me of a story that I've never told anybody publicly. So this is the first time I'm actually saying this publicly, but almost, I'd say 15 years ago, I was in 7th grade, and long story short, I was running to art class with a friend, and we were running a little late, and there were pigeons in the way, and it's like, we're not going to wait for pigeons, so we kept running, and the pigeons started flying, and then after I passed this classroom, I'm like, wait, did that pigeon just go in? And so I turned around, and I looked inside, and this pigeon was flapping its wings ferociously, just kept on hitting the back window, and I was like this, and I'm like, I was so apologetic, and people started like laughing and such, and the teacher was like, you better leave, and I kind of took it personally. After that, a couple times I got teased over it, like, hey, you were the person that scared that pigeon inside my class, and I'm like, it was an accident, and one of them was like, yeah, right. And it's like, oh, well, okay. But something else is that I think that the class that I'm in, my mentor teacher is in, is the same exact class that I scared the pigeon into. In fact, all year and all last spring, I was thinking, those markings on the window, I wonder. And so that's kind of a comedic story at my expense that I've never went on the record saying, but I thought I'd share it because a bird went into our classroom today. Ironically, I'm not sure if it's ironic, but that teacher that I scared the pigeon inside her class, that teacher, she was my 11th grade English teacher a few years later, so she went from Ensign to Newport Harbor, and I believe she still teaches there today. But other than that, I got to teach another lesson today, lesson 2-6, I believe, for second and third period, so that was very fun. Just outside Ensign Intermediate School real quick, it's September 2nd, and 14 years ago today I began 8th grade. And next Monday is Labor Day, no school, and again, school started the day after Labor Day when I was a student, but on Sunday, September 4th, it would be the 15th anniversary of beginning my student journey at Ensign Intermediate School when I was in 7th grade. And incidentally, just to say, I actually met 2 students last year whose birthdays are September 2nd, 2008 and September 4th, 2007. And not only that, but I mentioned September 4th, 2007, explicitly that date in my book as the first day of 7th grade. And today was very interesting at my expense. I had to tell everyone, look, I'm a Royal Ranger, and part of what we learn in Royal Rangers is leadership, and part of being a good leader is owning up to your own mistakes and apologizing when necessary. Yesterday, I gave a worksheet that I thought was at their grade level for their standards and everything. The teacher approved, but her and I didn't scrutinize it as much as we should. So tons of students I heard at SSR yesterday, and all night my teacher was getting emails, and this morning from the other math teacher who taught them last year, were all getting questions and complaints about how to do these problems. All what I was trying to get at is solving for the variable and equivalent equations and all that, and apparently it wasn't their time yet. They just needed simpler equations. So again, right before second and third period, I told them about the worksheet. You know that worksheet that I gave you yesterday? Burn it. And they started to laugh. and in third period they actually like took some time to exaggerate, like tearing it apart, so they literally was ripping up the papers and such. And I was so apologetic before class, after class, or at the beginning of class, at the end of class. But this is a learning experience, and I'm glad to know now. So this morning when my mentor teacher walked in and I first saw her, I said, I'm really in hot water today. And I explained the whole thing, and she explained it to the other teacher and such, and it will never happen again. So that's the joy of this process, is learning in the process. And that's what Mr. Daniel, my 11th grade history teacher at the school, said is the best thing about teaching is you learn in the process. And unfortunately Mr. Daniel had passed away young, about 7 years ago almost, but he was a very good teacher, very inspirational to me, so that's why I'm bringing him up. Also yesterday was the first informal assessment that my supervisor witnessed. So my supervisor from Vanguard University came over and observed me teach third period, and afterward she gave me a whole bunch of critiques based on it, and there wasn't really much she could say. She said, I mean, I was hitting a lot of TPEs and other expectations and such. Furthermore, she is also an author, so she had my book and she gave me a copy of her book, and we had like a little book signing in the lounge afterwards. So I signed my book for her and she signed her book for me. And also in 8th period today I got to observe my language arts teacher, who was my teacher in 8th grade 14 years ago, and I got to observe his language arts class. Even though I'm probably not going to do anything with language arts, I was just curious about his class, so it was great being in his room again. Brought back a lot of memories from when I was a student there. It's September 8th, 2022, and real quick, I'm actually down the street at Newport Harbor High School, and 13 years ago today was my first day of 9th grade, and I remember I could hardly sleep the night before. So 13 years ago, my first class was over there in Dodge Hall. I was taking Algebra 1, 8 o'clock in the morning. So that's kind of a bit of a memory for today. And then I just got out of Ensign, 8th period. I was observing my former 7th grade teacher from 15 years ago in the same classroom, room 37. So it's great to be back in her class once again, and it's like back when I was a student, but all the desks are facing the different direction though. Okay, so as you can see here, we're literally being soaked and drenched, which is actually a blessing over here in Southern California, because in case no one knows, we've been having a massive heat wave, like an extreme heat wave that was very abnormal over here in Southern California, and now it's raining. So anyway, today's Friday, September 9th, 2022. I taught a very good lesson today, relatively speaking. Today at lunch I was actually encouraged to shoot some hoops, and after 10 tries I finally got my first shot in several years, because I'm not really much into sports and I haven't played basketball in so long. So, but you know, everyone was encouraging me, hey Mr. Genslow, take a shot and such. And then at the end I took 2 basketballs and started juggling 2 with one hand. So anyway, other than that, I got to observe my former 8th grade teacher again, language arts teacher. So this concludes another great couple of weeks over at Ensign, concludes this teaching update, and I'll catch you in the next one.